right, at 6 o'clock, I call this meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, wherever you can.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're gonna move pretty fast, like if we make motions and stuff, because sometimes it drags out with, on here, Tony and Travis, so if there is something, make sure you speak up right away when we make motions, because we always have that little slow time, okay? Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Can I get a second?
Bunker will second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Open forum, is there anybody out there that would like to speak? All right, we're on to the consent agenda. Approval of minutes, bills, purchase orders, investments. There's 2 gambling resolutions for St. Mary's, and then there is EMT appointment. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Bunker will make a motion to approve.
Tony, you're seconding it then?
Sure.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
Aye.
Motion's carried. It is 6:02. We are in public hearings. We'll have 3 of them tonight. The first public hearing is vacation of a portion of 3rd Avenue West of the Haskamp addition. There is an affidavit here that was sent out. It's for tonight, February 18, 2021. It's for Melrose, between lots 9 through 12, block 6 of lots 21 through 24, block 7, which lines up on the south end of 5th Avenue West as platted in Tri-Quality Estates, according to the plat and survey, therefore on file and recorded at Stearns County. And that was signed by Colleen Winters. All right. Lisa, are you there? Do you want to talk about this?
I am here, yes. Yes, I am. So before you tonight is a public hearing for a road vacation. It's a road that's never actually been constructed, and due to its proximity next to the Sauk River, we don't anticipate that it will ever need to be constructed. It serves, the neighborhood is served by other streets that connect to all of the additional lots, except for the one lot that is proposed to be combined as a result of this vacation. Due to its proximity of the river, we do need to open the public hearing and then continue the public hearing to the April meeting because the DNR needs to have 60 days notice by state law for which to comment. So we would just perhaps need to continue that till that time period. Otherwise, I think everything is prepared to move forward. The Planning Commission and the Public Utilities Commission have both reviewed this and saw favorable to move forward with this. There will be an easement that will be required to go down the alignment with 5th Avenue Northwest connecting to 7th Street Northwest to allow for looping of electrical.
Okay. Is there anything else on this one? Otherwise, it's the public hearing, so if there's anybody out there that would like to speak on the vacation of 3rd Avenue West of the Haskamp addition, this is your time to speak. All right, we will be taking action in a little bit on this at 6:04.
Actually, if I may, it would be that we would just need to continue the public hearing.
Okay.
Until April.
Until April. All right. So then we'll continue it to April. Next is a public hearing for body cameras, the BCW. There's actually 2 of them here, I think, right? Yes, there's 2 affidavits here. The one is the Star Post, And it was dated this, the 13th of January, 2021 for tonight. This is about the body cameras, our portable recording systems worn by the peace officers and have both video and audio capabilities. It's time if anybody would like to provide any public comment. That's why we are looking into this. So, Matt McDonald, do you want to speak on this? Officer McDonald?
If there's any questions.
Do you want to just inform a
Yeah, can you
little?
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Just sort of inform us a little bit of what we're looking at and just explain to the public who is, listening out there.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know what all was said at previous meetings, but basically the PD is looking at getting body cameras probably sometime mid-summer. Looking at 5 different body cameras, basically one for each officer. I know there's some technology requirements that go with it as far as downloading requirements and a computer station that's needed, and have to be different docking in the squads for charging. I don't know if anybody have any questions or anything specific you want me to talk on.
Yes, why don't you just sort of talk about their capabilities, when they're used, when they're not being used. If you can just enlighten people, just so they know, because some people don't really know what they are yet.
Sure. So I don't think there's going to be too much changes to, when we activate our current in-squad cameras, and we carry a mic with us on shift that also is activated at any time. The mandatory times that the body camera will come on, there's a list in our policy I can go through real quick, is a pursuit, Terry stop of a motorist or pedestrian, anytime we're searching people or houses or searching anything for that matter, any seizures, so anytime we, withhold somebody's freedom to go about their business, anytime we're making an arrest, anytime that we're using force, anytime we have an adversarial contact, so somebody that's agitated or, high mental state or something of that nature. Anytime we're transferring people to jail, detox hospitals, juvenile detention centers, and then any other time basically that an officer sees fit. If it's something we know might be a heated situation or something that we know could be criminal in nature, that's when the officer will activate the camera. Sounds like Chief Mouse is looking at leaving it set up so it is always recording. So basically anytime it gets activated, we'll have 60 seconds prior to when the camera is actually recorded or initiated the recording. So we'll be able to see back at that. There's also the ability to look back. I'm not sure how long, but if something that should have been recorded isn't, we can at least get the video, not necessarily the audio though. That the audio starts when it's recorded.
Okay.
If that helped. Yep. More questions?
Yep.
Mayor Finken?
No, that's good. Is there anybody out there that would like to ask any questions of Officer McDonald? Here's your chance. Any council members have any question? Travis or Tony?
No,
Do you guys have?
not really. I know that there's been concerns in the past about liability and stuff from the city standpoint, but I'm sure that's all been addressed.
Officer McDonald, I would assume that reading this policy that Chief Mouse probably borrowed and/or was required to use quite a bit of the language from the state guidelines.
Yeah, the post board has a model policy, and then I know this was adopted through some of the other police departments prior to us. So between the model policy, not necessarily dictated by post, but put out there by post board that was for agencies to use, between that and then what other PDs have done. Chief Mouse put this policy together basically and put our stamp on it.
Yeah, it appeared to me to be fairly comprehensive, pretty much touched all the bases for about any kind of situation you're going to encounter, and I think it's, personally, I think it's well laid out.
appears that way.
I agree. All right, is there anybody else that would like to say anything? All right, it's 6:10. We're going to go on to our last public hearing. And this one is Chapter 32, Departments, Boards, and Commissions. There was an affidavit that was sent out in the paper on the 10th of February. And it's a public hearing to consider amendments to the boards and commissions, just for different boards that we have, MATA, for the officers and members who can all be part of it. Is there anything that you would like to add to that, Colleen?
No, Scott actually is the one who drafted the amendment. He certainly can address what the changes are.
Yeah, the changes that we're making, I looked at the proposed amendments to MATA's bylaws that they want to adopt and compared what was in the bylaws, what they wanted to have in their bylaws to what was in the enabling ordinance, which that's what's in Chapter 32, and we're just affecting the organization of MATA. And I found two areas that we would have to change the enabling ordinance to accommodate these bylaw changes. You know, the first one is currently the statute states that the city administrator will serve on the board, and so we're removing that. And then under the bylaws, the city administrator will be the executive director. You'll still have a 7-person MATA board. It's just that you'll have the mayor, a council member, and then 5, other members from the community. The other change is in the officers, and in that the ordinance had said that the city administrator would serve as the treasurer for MATA, and we're again making a modification that would allow the final director to serve as the treasurer. And with those amendments, then MATA's bylaws will conform with the enabling ordinance. And I also then compared these changes with Chapter 469 of the state statutes to make sure that they didn't conflict with anything there. We're having a hearing because Chapter 469 requires one whenever we amend the enabling ordinance for MATA.
Okay. All right. Is there any public comment out there? All right. It is 6:13. We will be looking at these further down in action items.
So we're closing the
Yes, we
public hearing.
closed it at 6:13. So we are on to reports. The first report is for the ambulance department report. Jen?
Good evening, everybody. I wanted to review our end of the year for 2020. So our total run volume was 890 runs. That is up from 862 the year before, 2019. We had quarter 2 was probably our slowest quarter. My assumption is that is because of the shutdown. People were really listening, staying home, and our call volume for that quarter was only 187. Then at the end of quarter 3 into quarter 4, our run volume picked up, and we had 220 and then 270 between those 2 quarters. And there were some weeks where we would have 35 to 42. I think 42 was our max runs in a week, and a lot of those were COVID related. Not that we were necessarily dispatched for COVID, but we would end up out at the scene, and that would be what it was about. And then now, probably about the middle of December, we kind of went back to our baseline again. And so far for January, the beginning of this year, it kind of remains the same. We currently are at 18 members on the department, and you guys approved one for tonight. So Nick Guzik will join our department. He also works with CentraCare and Patient Access, so we're excited. He's been riding along for 2 months. Other than that, I don't have anything on my report that's out of the ordinary. Does anyone have any questions for me?
I don't. Anybody have questions? No. All right, thanks, Jen.
You're welcome.
Next is for the Melrose Fire Department. Chief Buddy, are you out there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you pretty good.
Alrighty, thank you. So for the fire department for 2020 was a rather active year for us. We had a total of 131 calls for the year, which is the highest call volume that the fire department has incurred since the 100 plus years that we've been in. So looking at that, our fire calls were up fairly significantly from previous years. Rescue and medicals all tend to be about the average for us. So that's kind of where we're at with the call volume. Personnel-wise, we have currently 26 members that are on, so we are down a little bit. We have 3 guys that have looking at taking a leave, so it brings us down to 23 for this year. We'll be doing a push starting next month and hopefully get a few more guys on. We do have 5 new guys that are going through the Firefighter 1 and 2 training classes right now. They are first responder refresher certified. So, like I said, we got the 5 going through the Firefighter 1 and 2 right now, and it's been good. Grants and donations last year, we received a donation from the FEMA to purchase new air packs. We received that last year, and we put the new air packs in service last year. They are they hit their life expectancy. I shouldn't say expectancy, but per NFPA and bottles cannot be recertified or tested after 20 years. So we hit that life. So that helped us out quite a bit because the total amount for the purchase was just under $119,000. Our portion of it being that we got it for the FEMA grant was just under $5,000. So quite a savings that we can get if we can get into the approved for the FEMA grant. Another item that we purchased last year was a new grass rig. And that piece of equipment was solely purchased via donations through the community and local businesses. And we just 100% appreciate the community and the residents of the community, businesses supporting us and allowing us to purchase this new equipment and make it make our stuff available when needed. And I believe that's about it for the recap for 2020. Looking into 2022, we will have to go through our ISO rating exercise again. It's due every 5 years, so I will be starting that. I've notified ISO already, and I'll be starting that exercise hopefully with the next month or two to get that going. That is just so people are aware of, the ISO rating is something that insurance agencies use when calculating out their rates for their residents in the community. And right now we're at a 4, and hopefully we can keep that going when we get done with this exercise. Any questions?
Oh, I'm good. Anybody else have any questions out there? All right.
I'm good.
All right, and we'll talk to Tom in just a little bit in action items. Police Department monthly report. Matt McDonald, are you still there?
I am here, Mayor Finken. Step stepping in for Chief Mouse. I'll give you the monthly statistics for January of 21 for traffic. We had a total of 28 citations written for the month. We had 87 verbal warnings and 13 written warnings. For the month of January 21, we received 345 calls and requests for service. At this time last year, January 20, we had received 329 calls and requests for service. So that puts us at the end of January 2020, we were at ICR 329, and the end of January 21, ICR 345. And for agency assist, for the month of January 21, we received 23. If you guys have any questions, that's all I have for the police department.
Nope, I'm good. Anybody have questions? Anybody have questions? All right, city attorney report, Scott Demick.
Thank you. My written report at the top, the ongoing process with the Bonner property. There is a hearing scheduled with the court administrator for March 19th. I have filed the paperwork with the court asking for an order that would allow us to just go onto the property and abate the nuisance and then assess the costs against the Rose Park property. So that's scheduled for the day after your March meeting. The other item on there is what we have talked about at the public hearing is the changes to MATA's enabling ordinance.
Okay.
Open to questions if you've got anything.
Nope, I don't. You guys? We're good here at City Hall. Anybody else out there? Thank you, Scott. We're on the community development director. Lisa?
The Planning Commission is not meeting this month, but planning application before you obviously is the Wensman Street vacation, which we've already discussed. MATA did meet on February 11th, and they continue to look for ways to support and encourage our local businesses. Other priorities include the downtown redevelopment site and looking for a way to create and promote additional housing in the city. That's all I have.
Okay. Great, thank you. Engineering report. Mike, you out there? Mike Nielsen, are you still out there? We'll just skip him. If he comes back, we'll just come back to it. And then we're on to city. Oh, you're there?
I think he's on mute.
Yeah, we don't hear you.
We can see him. His microphone is green on my screen. We're just not hearing it.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, he's talking. We were just not getting any sound.
Can't hear you, Mike.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Mike.
Looks like he's going to dial in.
Otherwise, should I just give him a call on his cell phone?
He's trying to call right now.
Okay.
They see more than we do.
Yeah.
Wayne, you're on mute.
Should have put it on that screen.
Yeah.
He's gonna call in, so we're just gonna give him a sec to call in here.
Who keeps hitting that one piano key? Down on this end.
Maybe he's got to use Bunker's flip phone to work, get this thing to work.
There you go.
Otherwise, if Mike wants to call my cell phone, we can do it that way too. Are you there, Mike?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Sorry about that. I don't know what's wrong with my headset, but now I'm getting reverberation in my...
Mute your computer side.
Okay. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Pavement management, I guess we've got 2 action items on the agenda first, so I'll skip over those for now. Sorry, can you still hear that reverberation?
It's not too bad for me here.
Yeah, we can't hear really. If you just turn your speaker all the way down, it should be fine.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so sorry about that again. 2nd Street South flooding, we're working on that. We've got the pipes laid out. We're looking at an alternative for storm sewer ponding to see if we can reduce the cost on that.
Okay.
Okay, I think we got it figured out here now. So the dam project, we've got the geometry finalized. As we discussed last month, we were widening by about 4.75 feet. We're working with Roger and Tim, I guess, to get the water extended across the river. So those plans hopefully will be ready to submit to the county on April 16th, and that would be at about a 16% completion. So those would be ready. Scour analysis is going on. That should be finalized in about 2 weeks, and what that does is determine the bridge foundation elevation and type. One of the things for the council that we have to discuss yet is the bridge aesthetics. I think we had kind of determined that several years ago, but I don't believe anybody remembers what that was to look like, and we do have new council members. So we'll be rescheduling the meeting that was supposed to take place tonight earlier for a later date. And the stream analysis is going well. The DNR is pretty much on board with everything that we've proposed. We have to submit some final, or the 60% plans for their review in mid-April. So that's all I've got for an update tonight, and I will try to figure out my sound issue before the next item here.
All right.
Mike, so we're still pretty much on schedule as far as letting bids, and if so, approximately when would that be?
Yeah, we are on schedule, and that would be later fall. I don't remember the exact month here, but we're probably looking at an October, November letting.
Mr. Mayor and Bunker, to answer your question, we are looking at the schedule right now says, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
The schedule right now says October, but when we had our meeting the other day, the county kind of said they're not sure if they have their bonding dollars. So I have to find out from Jody what that means. So we are on schedule, like to get the design and the plans done. But of course, it all depends on funding. So I need to get a handle on what the funding or the county funding is going to be as part of this project. So we're working towards that as well. And then as Mike said, we are going to reschedule the work meeting. Before any other decisions are made, obviously we have to bring this to the council. We're at a point now, we need to have you guys give input and let us know where we need to go with this. We also need to have public input, so we have to have a series of public meetings. Or we would like to. Open houses, I guess, would be a better way to say it. So hopefully we can get the meeting that the work session that we were supposed to have at 5 scheduled in the next week or two. Well, let's hope in the next couple weeks here. So that's kind of where we're at with that.
I don't plan on me being happy if we have a lot of public meetings with this bridge. This thing is 27 plus meetings. I don't want any more. We made that decision years ago already. I think if we have, it's time the council makes the decision on this bridge to get it done. Okay?
Yeah, it wouldn't be that they would be able to tell us we can't do this. We're just informing them of when the construction season is and when the pool gets lowered.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it would be about. It would be more of an open house. It would not be a public hearing, Joe. I'm sorry, I misspoke. It would be open house.
Okay.
And I know that you can build a bridge any time of the year, but I think that I've heard Mike say before that for this type of a project, ideally it would be a drawdown in a winter, at least putting in the caissons in the winter.
Yeah.
So
That's correct.
So, I mean, if we've got a bidding process that doesn't open until sometime in November of this year, any kind of a delay in that may not work out real well for getting the bridge done in the 21-22 winter, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all going to depend on the funding.
Okay. All right. Is there any other questions? All right, thanks, Mike. City Administrator report?
So the legislative session actually began January 4th, and we had the good fortune of getting bonding dollars last year when they passed the big bonding bill. But there's still a couple items on the legislative session as of note. One of those is we're still, not for us necessarily, we won't take advantage of it, but there's many communities in greater Minnesota that still need a lot of infrastructure related types of funding. And so there is a push by the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities to get additional funding to the Public Facilities Authority. And so I was able to be part of Zoom calls yesterday with new legislators, kind of bringing them up to speed on what the PFA is, what they do, that type of thing. So that was kind of fun. And then the other thing that is really important is Governor Walz has asked the legislature to approve a $35 million fund to assist local governments with unexpected and extraordinary public safety costs. This is kind of a lead up to the trial, the Derek Chauvin trial that will take place in March. And the Republicans basically came back and said it should be tied to local government aid. Again, the position of both the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities and the League of Minnesota Cities is that our aid should be our local government aid should be funded 100%. It should be standalone. It shouldn't be used as a punitive type of thing. It really does need to be on its own. So you will see later on in the action items that we are going to ask you to pass a resolution regarding LGA. Does anybody have any questions on that?
I do not.
Anyone else? So the other item that we'll need to be approving later on the agenda, we did have an opportunity to meet with the Inventors Property, which is a development group. They met with the MATA board to discuss partnering with us on the development of the craft lot in the 400 block. As you know, the city, and as long as you guys have been discussing the bridge, you've been discussing the craft lot probably 10 years longer than that. So we've had developers that have kind of come to the table, but we've never really been able to get this project off the ground. So, you know, part of it, I think, was we maybe didn't have a partnership approach that we needed to have with the developer. And so now we feel like that would exist with Inventor Properties. We've met with them. Matt has met with them. We had a very rigorous discussion at the MATA board meeting, and they were very excited, I think, to hear what Adventures could bring to the table. Tracy Ryan was also part of those discussions as well. So later on in the agenda, you'll see where we are asking that you put together a letter of intent with Investor Properties. Now, keep in mind that this letter of intent does not obligate us in any way to any sort of a financial obligation. It's simply saying that we will negotiate, we will work with them in good faith. What's different about Inventors is they're willing to put their own money up front on a project like this to do some of the due diligence. So that in and of itself was pretty refreshing to hear. Plus, they're not a developer that's going to build a building and walk away. They are owners of the buildings that they build. In addition, before COVID hit, we actually had some pretty rigorous discussions with some entities that had some really strong interest in potentially, staying in Melrose and then maybe looking for a site to locate, because where they're at right now isn't going to work. Their lease is up, I believe, in 22, but they need to stay in Melrose. So that's there's a lot of things that play with that. So that's one thing that you're going to be asked to vote on later on under action items. The other is, as part of the crack lots, the legislation has expired, and the city is, I've already worked with Representative Anderson and Senator Westrum's offices to ask for renewal legislation as part of the ombudsman bill that would allow the sales tax exemption and a portion of the fire remediation grants to remain in place until July 1st, 2023. This is the second time that we are going to the legislature, and it's really hard to go to them if we do not have a project. That's why we felt it was really imperative that we get a strong developer and partner with them on this. So that's kind of where we're at with that. Representative Anderson gladly took it forth for us, but I think he would even feel better if we knew we kind of had, a project. So hopefully with, I can't guarantee that it's going to get funded, but, or that it's even going to be in the ombudsman bill, but I told Representative Anderson and Senator Westerman willing to testify, and hopefully we have a good chance of putting it in there. It's not like we're asking for additional funds, we're simply asking them to expand what's already been somewhat earmarked for us. So again, just so you are aware, and I will reiterate it, that before we get real far down the road with any type of actual shovel in the ground, anything like that, we will secure a full executed developer's agreement. So that's where we're at with those two things. So again, later on the agenda, I'm just going to ask that you please approve that. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I don't have anything else on my report.
All right, sounds good. We're on to action items. 7A is Melrose Police Department body worn camera policy. Unless there's any questions on it, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve
So I'll
that.
move, Travis.
Okay, Travis, one, Bunker, second.
Bunker second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, opposed? Motion's carried. We're on to B, ordinance 21821, ordinance amending Melrose City Code Section 32.33 and 32.34B, providing of members and offices of the Melrose Area Development Authority. Unless I have any questions, can I get a motion to approve?
So move.
Bunker second.
Second, Travis.
Okay. All right, first and second, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion is carried. All right, we are on to the fire department budget, the 2022. Chief Woody, are you there yet?
Yes, I am.
All right, it's your turn.
So this is kind of our co-mingling of council meeting and our annual township meeting. So if there's any township members that are out there now, or cities that we serve that want me to stop out and talk to you guys a little more in depth with regards to the budget and where we're at, I'm more than happy to do that. Just reach out to me. My phone number is listed on the website, or contact the city hall, and they can get you my cell phone number. And I'd be, like I said, more than happy to come out and talk to you guys, since this kind of is a makeshift for the budget for the township meetings. So last year's budget, we were a little unfortunate. First time we've experienced this in a while. We had a $14,447 deficit. Where that comes from is we had 2 years of our truck repairs built into one. So 2019, the repairs and the pump stuff got done late in the year, and then they tried to get the parts, but with the whole COVID stuff, they ran into issues going into that. So we had to get the repairs done in 2020. So, and then we had our normal 2020 pump testing and all that stuff done later in the year. So between those two items, and then we had significant higher than normal radio repair work done, kind of drove us over budget. So with that, rather than billing it out to the townships and the cities, I made the recommendation to pull that money from our equipment savings account and not bill it out to the townships, and since we have money in that fund. So that is what we did. And so this would be the 2022 budget. We would have it at no credit and no bill to the township, so the budget stays the same as previous years, and which the total budget right now is $181,653. So like I said, that's been the budget for the last 2 years, if not even 3 years. So that is what I'm proposing for 2022.
Okay. Is there anybody out that wants to speak about this? All right. I'm looking for an action for the council to give consideration to approve the 2022 budget. Can I get a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
I'll move, Travis.
Okay. There's
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Abstain.
All right. Fire department water truck replacement. Chief Buddy?
Yes, thank you. So as you remember, a couple of months ago, I was at the council meeting to seek permission to start moving forward with getting information on replacement of one of our tankers, tanker 508, which is a 3,000 gallon tanker, a 1993 truck. We've been pushing it off a few years to make the purchase, and now it's time. I think we got to make this purchase, and then otherwise we're going to start backing ourselves up on the other truck replacements, and it's just going to not bowl very well with our budget. So like I said, I'd like to start seeking bids for this and get us to start moving forward with it. Talking to truck manufacturers, they're 12 months out, so even though we go out to start seeking bids, we still won't be seeking delivery on this truck until, my guess is mid next year, which is the year that this truck will be replaced. And if I could just touch a few items a little further on the trucks, is with our ISO ratings, depending on where we land, I'm looking at recommending to get rid of, go down to 2 tankers, so we would sell our current 508 truck, which I did a little snooping around. We can get anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 on that truck. And then the other one is a DNR truck tanker that we have that's just, it's tired. It's beyond its life. The tank, we go down any bumpy road, it may break, and we would have to give that one back to the DNR because it's under the DNR loaner program. So we would go down to just having 2 tankers, and per ISO, not ISO, but NFPA standards or regulations, we have to have enough seats for the number of guys that we have on the fire department. And with where we've been at lately, around that 25 guys, we have more than enough seats if we go down to 2 tankers, and then we can see reassess our needs and assessments for the fire department and figure out what we need there. So that's kind of my plan of action once this new tanker comes in place. And any new tanker now, brand new tankers, rather than having them a life of 20 to 30 years, I'm pushing them out to 40 years because they're brand new. They don't get a lot of miles on them, but when they do run, we all know they're pushed pretty hard. So that's kind of my game plan as I look at it now, but ISO ratings will also dictate the plan as well. We'll be taking into consideration. So, questions?
Not really. If you go down to 2, so you obviously have 3 tankers now, right? If you go down to 2, is the new truck gonna be bigger? I mean, you're not gonna like undercut yourself.
No, we'll do 3,000 gallons, which is our current tanker, is what we're looking at right now that we're replacing. No, it's nowadays and even I should say nowadays, even in the past, mutual aid has been one that we always, I won't say rely on, but it's there. Us and Freeport and Sauk Center have a really good relationship, and pretty much any one of the fires that we're on, if they're a larger structure fire and out in the rural, we're calling one of them already. We are the only department within, I did a quick survey of all the neighboring departments going as far as Avon down to New London area. We're the only one that has 3 tankers on board, and the reason that we have that 3rd tanker here was back when we first got 508. They had a lot of issues with it, and so they had to get it fixed, and it was out of service for quite a few months, and so they brought in, they asked the DNR to give us a tanker, and so that's how we got that 3rd tanker in here. I don't think it's going to tie us at all, but like I said before, we get rid of it, it will definitely be thought out and made sure that we're not shorting ourselves at all.
That old Mack tanker he's referring to would suffice for somebody to haul water to a field at 30 miles an hour, but it's definitely not an emergency vehicle.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve? Looking for a...
So moved.
Okay, there's a first. Can I get a second?
Second.
First and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Bunker will abstain.
Okay. Motion carried. All right, we're on to 2021 street improvement projects. Mike?
Okay, as the members of the council, we're progressing with plans to the point where we're comfortable going out for bids on the 2021 street improvements, and we're looking to place the ad for bid in the Star Post and then the Finance and Commerce for a period of 3 weeks beginning March 3rd, with the bid opening on April 7th, council awarding the project potentially at the April 15th meeting. And then we're giving the contractor an area of August 9th to complete the work. So we're expecting about 25 working days after the start of the project. And so the only action by the council tonight would be to authorize WSB to place the 2021 chip seal project ad for bid in the Star Post and the Finance and Commerce, with the bid opening date on Wednesday, April 7th at 10 a.m.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve that?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second, Travis.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion is carried. Then we're on the 2021 chip seal projects. Mike?
Okay, those plans are complete. The ad for bid has been prepared, and we will be placing the ad in the Star Post and then on the Quest CDN February 21st or 4th with a March 11th bid opening. And the council can award at the March 18th meeting, and then we're giving the contractor a June 1st to August 30th completion date with an allowable 5 working days after the start of construction. So just looking for a motion to authorize WSB to place the chip seal ad with a bid opening of March 11th, 2021 at
It's at 10 a.m. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's carried. We are on G, resolution number 2021-7, resolution on paying LGA on time and in full. Did any council members have any further questions on that? If not, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved, Tony.
Okay, can I get a second?
Bunker second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carried. Manor recommended that the city enter into a letter of intent to develop concept and property of the PIN with Adventure Properties. Unless there's any further questions, can I get a motion to approve?
I got a question on that.
Okay.
As far as like timing, I know with the bridge construction, we had tentatively planned, and Mike, I don't know what the logistics plan is with that yet, or maybe not developed, but that lot was gonna potentially be used fairly extensively for staging and dirt placement or equipment placement. Is that would this impact that at all? I wouldn't think they'd have a project going by the time the bridge gets going, if it does happen coming next year. And if we are entering this agreement, even though they have control of the lot, meaning we won't negotiate with anyone else, maybe we should put that in there, say, add something to that effect, that we may be utilizing that lot temporarily.
Mike, do you remember?
Go ahead.
Mike, do you remember how long the bridge project, at least that part of it was? How many months? Was it a 6 or a 9 month project?
I think it's probably start to finish. It's probably going to be closer to 9.
Okay. You know, that's a good
if that would be a deal killer for the craft lot, I think we could maybe look at utilizing the park more. Obviously, that's going to take the park out of commission, but it's certainly something that we could discuss as an alternative. But again, until we know the exact schedule with the funding, it's something to keep in mind, but I don't know that we have any good answer for that right now.
That's what I'd like to see, is if they're gonna wanna do it, I don't wanna slow them down. That lot's been sitting empty since, 95, so if we can get someone on there, that to me is a priority.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just want to make sure that if the lot's not, if we sign it over to them and the lot's not being used, if we would be able to use that for dirt placement or equipment placement at the time. So.
And we're not necessarily signing it over to them like it's theirs, and then they have 2 years,
No.
This was more
Right.
of them planning their stages, so they don't actually own the lot until they decide it's
That is correct.
feasible. Okay.
I realize that, just so they're aware of the project going on.
Right. Yep. Okay,
All right, can I get a motion to approve the letter of intent?
I'll make that motion.
All right, there's a first, is there a second?
Second. Tony.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's carried. Now we are on to amendment to fire remediation legislation. Colleen, did you need to talk any more on that?
I don't think so. It's just the amendments it was in your packet, and you can see how it's written. It's just basically extending it to July 1st, 2023. If we do that, then it coincides with the biennium for the state budget. So to us, it just made sense rather than putting a sort of arbitrary, time out there. It would tie in with also the the letter of intent that you just approved. So that's kind of, I don't think the legislature would give us more than 2 years. I think this is our last push for this. So that's just probably as far out as we can get it if it gets approved.
Well, I'll make a motion for the city administrator to contact our legislative representatives and twist some arms for this thing.
Yeah. And there's probably a chance she might have to go down once or twice and testify again like she did last year. So just so we're aware. So Bunker made a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a first and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
All right.
Right.
Opposed? Motion is carried. We are on to old business. Review the emergency order resolution number 2020-63, resolution declaring local emergency. Is there any questions or concerns? What do you want to do?
I'll make a motion to.
Yeah, I guess
Tony, you're kind of covered up. You want to try it again?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I guess I don't have any feeling that we really need to have an emergency declaration in place yet. I really think that it's still intended for a smaller, finite emergency. I just don't think we need it, and I don't even know if it's constitutional, and that's why I swore to uphold when I filed for office. So, it's not a democratic thing; it's an autocratic thing. So.
Doesn't matter, whatever.
I was just going to mention to the council too that as drafted, this emergency declaration will expire at the next meeting. So if you do nothing, it goes away in 30 days. If you decide to let it roll over, then you would have to actually vote to continue at your next meeting. If you did nothing, it would just expire.
Well,
Good to know. Thanks, Scott.
I know that we had to make some adjustments here at the city center in the last week. Colleen, would that have been doable without the emergency order? Or would we have had to have convened a council meeting?
I don't know that it rose to the level of having to have a council meeting, but what it did allow me to do, or you guys giving me the authority, we were able to make some decisions that did impact the city center. We had to react pretty quickly to, and the community as a whole. So that was nice to have that, but I think we've also talked about the fact that by consensus, I've always felt that I've been comfortable enough to call you guys individually and say, what are your thoughts about this? And you've given me the opportunity and the levity to go ahead and take care of what needs to be taken care of. So I think we have that relationship established. As long as you guys are comfortable with that when it comes to the things like we had to do this week, then I don't see a need anymore.
Okay. So just leave it, it runs out?
Well, it expires the end of February, Scott?
It's the expiration date is tied to your council meetings, so it will expire March 18th, your next meeting. So if you do nothing, it stays in place until March 18th, and then it goes away.
Okay.
Well, I'm okay with letting it ride until March 18th, and at which time I guess we don't need to discuss it any further.
No? You want to rescind your motion?
I'll rescind my motion.
Okay, Justin rescinded his motion. Yeah, let's just let it go down. And if there's something major, then we'll just have to do something. So that's good. We're on the new business, nothing there. And then on the informational items, Melrose Public Utilities Commission meeting minutes. That's all I have. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move, Travis.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion's carried.